Okay, so I got to be honest. I did not see Oklahoma City being up 2-1 in this series at any point against the Warriors. I thought Oklahoma City was going to give them a whale of a series. I wouldn't have been shocked if it was 6 games or 7 games or anything like that. But coming off the series against the Spurs, tough, hard-fought series where you're taking out an elite team. I mean, the Spurs historically are one of the 10 best records in the regular season in NBA history. The Thunder go down there and do that. Now you've got to take the team that won more games than any team in a regular season in NBA history. I just expected there to be a little lull there, and I thought, especially as good of a home court team as Golden State was, that they'd win games 1 and 2. So for Oklahoma City to win game 1, and then last night, 28-point win, a game that was never in question, it became a laugher there in OKC. And now here the Thunder are up 2-1. And our next guest is a guy I know very well, Nathan Thompson. Used to work hand-in-hand with him in Oklahoma, covering the Thunder and several other things. He's the sports director at Fox 23 in Tulsa. Nathan, thanks for coming on. I'm taking you away from, what, wedding planning and party planning and NBA coverage and college football season, all those things. I mean, you have been a busy man, my friend.
Yeah, all that stuff. And actually right now I'm at the NCAA Tennis Championship. So all kinds of stuff going on in my world.
That's right. Maybe since you're right there, I'll have to ask you this. Vanderbilt was the defending national champions last year. They went down this afternoon. I know Oklahoma State's been a great story there. Can you just kind of briefly sum up sort of the scene there at the Case Center in Tulsa with the home team charging through this afternoon and also the reigning champs going out?
Yeah, it's definitely a great crowd here for Oklahoma State and OU, the men who are in the Final Four right now playing. It's very boisterous whenever the Cowgirls were playing, and actually in the Elite Eight round there, they had some problems with OSU fans just cheering too much during points, and they had a warning and even a penalty of a point in one of the matches. So they're definitely boisterous, and the Cowgirls, you know, a program that just had a new facility built, and a matter of years ago, some of these people were playing in an auxiliary gym in their freshman season, and now they're in the championship game for the Cowgirls. So it's great atmosphere for them, and OU on the court right now trying to advance. So, you know, when you're hosting a tournament like this, it's nice when you get some state teams here, and it really helps the crowd turn out here at the NCAA championships.
Yeah, it certainly does, and it is a vocal crowd for people who've never seen an NCAA tennis championships before. It's not what you normally think when you're talking college team tennis. It's a pretty cool atmosphere. A great atmosphere last night in Oklahoma City with the Thunder taking down the Warriors. Did you see that coming?
I did not see a 28-point win coming. No, I did not. I actually thought this would be a good series, a really good series. I think if I had to pick beforehand, I would have said the Warriors. But the Thunder is playing its best basketball of the season. I mean, it's easy to see that, and it's not just KD and it's not just Russ to have a guy like Deion Waiters be able to come off the bench and perform the way he's performed, not just in this series against the Spurs. He was great also. This is a guy that's been so inconsistent in the regular season, and since they got him last season, really, he's had some really good games and some really, really bad games, but he's doing it pretty consistent here in the postseason, not just scoring. He's distributing the ball well, playing good defense, and he's really kind of one of the missing ingredients that they've needed through the regular season.
Nathan, how big was game 1? To go from the Spurs series to Oracle Arena, where the Warriors lost just twice all season long, and come away with that win when, frankly, KD and Russ didn't have their best game, and steal that game on the road. How big was that for this team?
It was huge, and like you said, it wasn't the best game for the two superstars for the Thunder, but the Thunder in the postseason, you know, they won 2 games at San Antonio, a team that only lost 1 game in the regular season. So they had won like 3 straight games on the road against the Spurs and the Warriors. So apparently the road doesn't bother them too much, but they, after the game, I tell you what, we got in a tunnel and just shot some video of them walking off the court after the game. If you were just looking at that, you might have thought they lost the game. There was no cheering, no celebration, no smiles even when they walked off. I literally thought if I would show you that video, you would think they lost the game. And they weren't happy just getting a split. They wanted to get that game too, but obviously didn't go their way, and that was a blowout for the Warriors. But this is not a team that is surprised in any way that they're up 2-1 on the Warriors. They expect it. They expected to beat the Spurs. They expect to win a championship this season.
Nathan Thompson, the sports director at KOKI in Tulsa, joining us here on the program tonight. Nathan, I think maybe that's the thing. I was there when they kind of started this run, and it's 6 years now where they've really been at the top of the Western Conference. They went to the finals. They've been to the Western Conference finals several years. The only years they haven't advanced have been because of injuries to Westbrook or Durant in the playoffs. So I think in some ways we've overlooked the Thunder because of the historical seasons of the Warriors and the Spurs. Do you think those guys, especially guys like KD and Russ, have a chip on their shoulder because of that? Because they've been in this position before many times.
Yeah, I do think they have a chip on their shoulder, and I mean, Russ has always kind of had a chip on his shoulder.
That's true.
So that's nothing new, and that's kind of just how he motivates himself. And KD, you know, everybody always thought of him as the nice guy. He had that kind of thing where they were saying KD is not nice a few seasons ago, just to show that he's an assassin on the court is how I think he would like to be thought of. And it's definitely a team that's been overlooked. Well, when you have someone who wins 73 regular season games and the Spurs right there with them, it's kind of hard not to overlook a team that only got into the 50s. But this team is a team that was really figuring things out this season. I mean, you have a first-year head coach who's its first year in the NBA. They actually went through a couple of tragedies, as I'm sure people know about, and some deaths in the organization. So they've been doing a lot of things, and they have players like you picked up Enes Kanter and Dion Waiters last year. Well, Kevin Durant didn't play with them last year. He was hurt. So there's a lot of things they kind of figured out as the season went along, and it made people question the team a lot because they kind of questioned the rotations that Billy Donovan was using and maybe the setup of the roster that Sam Presti put together. But now it kind of seems to all be coming together. And, some of the biggest winners in this postseason run for the Thunder has got to be Billy Donovan and what people think of the job he's done now as opposed to regular season. And even Sam Presti, there were some doubters about this guy that had put together such a great franchise that had been near the top. There had started to be some doubters, and now I think it's really proven that this roster is a versatile roster. In game one, they beat them with that big lineup of Enes Kanter and Steven Adams. In this last game, they went small ball against a team known for small ball and beat them at their own game. So it's very versatile, and I think that Sam Presti, Billy Donovan, along with the players, are proving a lot of people wrong.
I'll take a guy who drafts Kevin Durant, Russ Westbrook, and James Harden in the first round of the draft in back-to-back years any day. Sam Presti is certainly one of my favorites in the NBA. And Nathan, you brought up Billy Donovan. Fans in this part of the country certainly know him for the great work he did at Florida, the Final Fours, the back-to-back national championships. But he went into a position where Scott Brooks did a good job for the Thunder. He had a lot of success there. He wasn't renewed and brought back at the end of last season. Then you bring in Billy Donovan from the college game. We all know that doesn't always work out the best when you try to bring the college coach to the NBA game. There were the ups and downs during the regular season, but what has he done or how has he gotten through to this team now in the postseason that has them playing so well?
I think what he has been able to do is, as good as the offense was under Scott Brooks, when you have superstars like Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, you're going to have a good offense. But they are even more efficient now, and as I mentioned earlier, more versatile, and that's a product of Donovan and also what Sam Presti has put on that roster. But also I think even you'll notice coming out of timeouts and just set-up plays coming out of timeouts, they seem to have a lot more success and get a lot more easy looks than they have in the past. They move the ball more. They have more assists, especially Russ Westbrook has really stepped up his assist game. So I think kind of just that versatility and the flow of the offense has gotten better, but they were always good at that. What they have lacked in the last couple of seasons is just that constant focus on defense and all-out effort, because when they focus and they play hard, they're a really good defense. And to be honest with you, they struggle with that in the regular season as well. Some games or some quarters they would be great, and other times maybe a Westbrook would lag a little behind, or he would go for a steal instead of playing the solid defense, and they would give up easy shots. Well, in this series, in this playoff, they've done a lot better job of that focused defensive effort, and you could tell Heck, Kevin Durant had 3 blocks last night, so
right.
they did a good job on that defense. And Kevin Durant is a good defender when he focuses on it, and Russ can be one of the best when he focuses on it and plays sound defense.
The big story there before we let you go, obviously the ruling today by the NBA to upgrade that kick foul from Draymond Green against Steven Adams in his nether region last night from a flagrant 1 to a flagrant 2. He gets a $25,000 fine, but he is not suspended. I have to imagine that didn't go over very well in Oklahoma City. Other than the fact that he's playing tomorrow night, do you think it has any impact in Game 4, how the rest of the series plays out?
Oh, I wouldn't think so, except if maybe you can get in his head a little bit. You know, it's the second time in 2 games where an incident like that had happened. Whenever it happened at Chesapeake Energy Arena, when they were showing the replays, you know, when they were checking the monitors for the officials, they were showing the replays on the Jumbotrons also, and the crowd actually started chanting, "Kick him out, kick him out." So Draymond Green is a passionate player, and he had a bad game last night regardless of that foul. So maybe if it affects him a little bit, it can, but I wouldn't think it would have a long-lasting effect on him. He seems to be he's a good, solid player with solid mental game, so I'm not expecting it to bother him that much.
He was minus 43 last night. I imagine that bothered him more than anything. Nathan, you were with me. You thought the Thunder would give him a run going into the series, but you didn't think they'd be up 2-1 probably at this point. And now that this is where we stand, what are the chances the Thunder actually go the distance and win this series?
Well, if I got a do-over to predict this series, I'm going with the Thunder at this point. As impressive as they've been winning a game on the road already, as impressive as they were in Game 3 yesterday, and obviously I believe they're a slight favorite now, which they haven't been for any games this series so far. I think they're maybe a 1-point favorite last time I heard. Tomorrow night, if they win this Game 4, you're up 3-1.
Right.
With you've already proven you can win on the road against the Warriors and the Spurs. Before that, you get another game at home. I've got to like the Thunder's chances. I'd say it's got to at least go 7 games, and if it's shorter than that, it's the Thunder winning. Wow,
it is a big one tomorrow night for sure. Nathan, I appreciate your time tonight. Get back to tennis, get back to wedding planning, get back to Oklahoma City tomorrow night. Have fun, my friend.
I appreciate it, man. Nice talking to you.
All right, Nathan Thompson, sports director at KOKI, Fox 23 Television in Tulsa. My old running mate back there. Very, very good guy. Happy for him and all his success down there. And I think there's a belief in Oklahoma and maybe around the basketball community that Oklahoma City has a shot in this series now. I still say tomorrow night is a must-win, probably on both sides. Because if you're Golden State, you can't go down 3-1. But if you're Oklahoma City, I'm not sure after the way you've played to this point in the series, you can lose at home and go back on the road at 2-2. You've just played too well to give up a game at home and go back 2-2. And now all of a sudden it's a short series, best of 3 with 2 games there where they are so good at home. And you're talking about playing and having to beat one of the historically great teams of all time. I don't know if the series is won tomorrow night, but maybe it can be lost tomorrow night for somebody. So I think a really, really big game tomorrow night in OKC. We got to take a break. We will come back with much more after this. We'll hear from Tim Corbin, a little bit of a preview of the SEC baseball tournament after this.